Welcome to the CineFiles, everybody. It is the show where three movie lovers, or in this case two, because Jamie's still gone. She's out at NBC Sports. She's going to be coming back next episode.
Next episode.
Anyway, three of us, we get together, we talk all things film, especially the new films that we want and think you should see. And maybe some that maybe you shouldn't see. But we're going to start with one that hasn't come out just yet.
Next week.
It comes out next week. But this guy got a screener, so he got to check it out. I'm really looking forward to it, and we'll see what Brian thinks. This one's called Project Hail Mary.
I understand that you think I'm the right person for this mission. I understand the stakes.
Object approaching.
If we do nothing, everything on this planet will go extinct, including us. Dr. Grace, the world is counting on you.
Extinct, except for us. All right, so this is Project Hail Mary. This is a science teacher, Ryan Grace, who basically finds himself in a position where he is in a spaceship, wakes up alone, light years from Earth, and as his memory returns, he uncovers a mission to stop a mysterious substance killing the sun, and he's got to save Earth. No big deal, no pressure there. An unexpected friendship may just be the key to saving the planet. All right, Bri, give me the scoop.
So I'm a little divided on this one. And as a critic, I had to kind of evaluate how I'm reviewing this. I'm a big fan of the book. The book is a hard science novel by Andy Weir, who wrote The Martian. And it's very much like The Martian in that he's using real science to solve real world problems in a fictional scenario.
Huge fan of The Martian.
Huge fan of The Martian too. I love the movie. I love, just a great piece of entertainment that is also, teaches you something about science. And that's how Project Hail Mary was as a book. As a movie, it's been completely dumbed down, deprioritizing science over just like
Why do they always do that?
Goofy antics.
Why do they always do that?
And yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's maybe kind of like, America, we're sort of an anti-intellectual culture lately, and I think it's just a symptom of kind of the dumbification of America, unfortunately.
Okay.
I think that...
Got to dumb it down to make it more popular, yeah?
Right. And it's populist entertainment in its current form. I will say that if you haven't read the book and you go see the movie, it's 2.5 hours and it's going to fly by.
Oh, it's nice. Okay.
And you're going to have a great time.
Oh, great.
But if you've read the book and you're devoted to that, as I was, I couldn't get over the fact that they really changed, I think, ideologically what the book was about in the adaptation.
Got it.
And that's very frustrating as a fan of the book to be watching a movie and just seeing how they're changing things and how they're sort of taking the life that I loved out of that book and putting it into a movie and just making characters a little less interesting and a little less dynamic and a little less complex. The situations are just a little less complex and it's more rooted in, not Ryan Gosling being a science guy and teaching us something, because his character literally is a junior high science teacher who has a PhD. And so he's kind of, as you read the book, he's sort of explaining these things and working
overqualified.
Right. And he's taking apart all these issues and or all these science problems and putting them back together with the help of his little friend that he meets throughout the way, Rocky.
Oh, Rock Buddy?
His name is Rocky.
Nice.
And they just play too much, I think, on sort of the cutesy humor element of it. And there is humor, just like there was in The Martian. But it's a little too much, I think, in movie form for me as an adaptation. So I guess...
Okay, but if you pull yourself away from a lover of the book, can you just strip that away for a second? And for the average movie lover who's going in cold?
Yeah. I mean, yes. For the average movie lover who's going in cold, yes. I think, and from what I understand, my fellow critics in Minnesota have all... the ones who haven't read the book seem to really love it.
Oh, great. Okay, good.
And so, on their behalf, I'll recommend it. As someone who loved the book and who's really, devoted to what Andy Weir was doing there and in The Martian, I think it's deeply disappointing.
I see.
So I'm divided. I wrote my review as kind of a comparison, to the book and to the film, which is not something I usually do. I try to look at those things separately, but at the same time, that's a context that I have, and I have to consider that context.
Well, yeah.
So my review is negative, but at the same time, that's simply my perspective, and I would say...
You don't have to couch it, man. It's okay.
No, I mean, I understand the dynamics there, but I think unfortunately this is a dumbed down movie that could have been a lot smarter, and it could have been another Martian, but instead it's just an average kind of spectacle.
And so so you're saying the comparison between this and The Martian. In The Martian, he teaches sort of the viewer-ish, how to grow potatoes and how to use your own defecation as fertilizer,
right.
and does the math and the physics to make a dome and sort of save his own life.
Yep.
So there's that element, that Good Will Hunting element, that smart element there. You're saying that's missing from this? Gosling doesn't do that?
I mean, it's barely there. Like, it's so glossed over, and it's more just like there are montages.
There's no MacGyver action.
Not really, no. I mean,
Darn it.
I mean, there is, but it's all like in montages, and they're not really explaining what they're doing. And you kind of get the gist of it by the end, but it's more played for humor. I mean, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who directed this, they did the Lego Movie, they did 21 Jump Street. They're
comedy guys.
They're comedy guys.
Yeah.
And they're more interested in Ryan Gosling being funny, and he is very funny.
He's great.
But at the same time, you can have that balance of science and humor that The Martian had. I mean, even the screenwriter, Drew Goddard, wrote the Martian screenplay, and he maintained that, and he doesn't do that here, and it's very frustrating.
All right, so what's your rate it?
I would say try it. If you're a fan of the book, you're probably going to be disappointed, especially if you've read it recently. And if you haven't read the book, I'd say see it.
And if you see the movie and you haven't read the book, you say read the book.
Yeah. There's a great audio book, by the way, where the performances are outstanding, and they do some very interesting stuff with the alien. So check out the audiobook if you're not into reading.
Cool. All right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Next one we both happened to catch. This one just came out. It actually tanked at the box office. Many people are calling this a failure. I am certainly not all the way on that camp, but we'll talk about it here in a second. This is The Bride.
Was I just the same before the accident?
There wasn't any accident. Everything we did it on purpose. There's nothing left to do now but live.
All right, there it is. So the second time that Maggie Gyllenhaal, who adapted or co-wrote, I guess, this screenplay and directed, and Jessie Buckley, who we all know is one of my favorite humans on the planet, have worked together on a film. This is a retelling of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. It is wildly different in artistic take than what the book is and what every other Frankenstein tale that you have seen is. This is a feminist take. It is, boy, it's a lot. There's so much going on in this film that it bugged me. But I'm gonna let you go first, Brian, and then I'll tell you sort of what I loved and what I hated.
Yeah, I think I can already kind of tell that we're maybe a little bit aligned on this. There is so much going on, and it's not even, I don't even know that it's fair to call it an adaptation of Frankenstein, because it's that element of it. I mean, there is no Dr. Frankenstein, right? It takes place in the 1930s. It assumes that, the story of Frankenstein is real, and that happened back
100 years prior.
100 years prior,
outlived
right.
Dr. Frankenstein.
But
and
then
took the name of the doctor as Frank.
Yeah,
and he had
right.
been a virgin for 100 years.
And he's very frustrated about that and wants a bride. And so he goes to Annette Bening's character, Dr. Euphronius, and they revive a woman, kind of a 1930s gangster girl, to be his bride. And she decides that she doesn't necessarily want to be a bride of someone else. She just wants to be her own person. And I like that aspect of it. I loved the feminist aspect of it. I think that all the messages that she's imparting are, it's hard to argue with them, but at the same time, the execution is there. As you said, there's so many subplots. There's a story about a gangster who's killing women and cutting out their tongues. There's a group of women who are inspired by the bride and kind of paint their faces like her, and that lasts for about 2 minutes in the movie and then just kind of goes away.
Pair of detectives.
Peter Sarsgaard, Maggie Gyllenhaal's husband, and
Penelope Cruz.
And Penelope
like
Cruz.
Oscar-nominated people.
Yeah. And
in a side role that does nothing.
And she's sort of like, a Girl Friday who's actually doing the real detective work. And it was kind of like Nick and Nora Charles from The Thin Man, if you're familiar with those movies. But there's just so much going on. But then Frankenstein, played by Christian Bale, he's in love with cinema, and he watches movies, and he looks at the screen, and he imagines himself up there, and he's doing these song and dance numbers in black and white that are really inspired, like Busby Berkeley sequences, and that's really kind of fun. And
it was amazing.
Each one of these moments, like on its own, could have been a whole movie.
I agree.
And it's just so, like, it should have been a 3-hour movie and all these things be fleshed out, and I probably would have enjoyed it more. Yeah. But I didn't really care about anything that was happening, even though I kind of admired everything that was happening.
Right.
I admired its message. I admired the execution in terms of like the production values and the makeup and stuff, and the performances. But the story just never really came together for me.
Too much art, too much acting, too much messaging, not enough heart or mind.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? So the spine and the plot, it wasn't there. It wasn't enough.
Right.
I think Buckley is amazing, and everything she does is irreverent and fearless. She's one of the greatest actors I've ever seen, and she continues to be. Just fearless. I thought there was a piece of her that was really annoying and had nothing to do with her. In this movie, God, I still don't understand this. It starts out with a black and white like prologue of Mary Shelley.
Right.
Of Mary Shelley breaking the wall and telling the viewer, like, I was trapped in writing Frankenstein, I guess, and so I have more to say.
Like
and somehow,
like the book wasn't the story that she wanted to tell.
Like there's more to it. Like she was patronized or like limited in what she really wanted to say from a feminist perspective, I guess.
Yeah.
And so she literally possesses this woman,
right?
Ida.
So Mary Shelley, who is
the author
is
possesses the female character of. I just was so confused, and then literally she possesses her. So what do I mean by that? That half the time it's Ida, right?
Right, Ida. Yes.
Ida, the flapper who's like a street swinger, like with criminals, who was killed, and now she's brought back to life. She speaks in her New York flapper accent, and then all of a sudden she'll be possessed and speak in this whimsical 1830s British accent.
Yeah.
And she keeps flipping back and forth, and I can't understand why. I don't understand I literally don't get why she chose to do that with the character. It makes no sense to me.
There's a lot of this movie that doesn't make sense, and I think logical-brained people are going to be very frustrated with this, and you just kind of have to go with the flow on it, because that's what Maggie Gyllenhaal's doing.
Yeah.
And she's just kind of spewing out ideas and not letting herself be restrained in any way, and in a way that's very admirable.
But it's ineffective.
It is ineffective as a whole. There are great moments. There are great scenes.
Never seen anything like it.
Right.
I've never seen like that. To me is worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
That I've never seen anything like it. Artistically, the way it's shot, it's stunning. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Joker. Reminded me maybe of.
It's the same cinematographer.
That's right.
and scorer of Joker, right. Actually.
Might be even elements of like Selena Kyle from like Batman Returns.
Oh sure.
Right. So Michelle Pfeiffer, who actually I think played the Return from the Dead better actually than this. But I don't know, man. It's really. Might regret this, but it's an arrogant movie. This movie is preaching 18 things, but it can't paint the foundation of any of the 18. Like, I believe if you took 45 minutes out of this movie, you could condense it into something pretty powerful.
Sure, yeah, I could see if they just focused on sort of the Bonnie and Clyde element of it and really just Frankenstein and the bride, that would have been very interesting.
The epitome of love they didn't even know they needed.
Yep.
All of it.
Mutual respect and not necessarily like the ownership in a relationship.
And he stuck up for her when she was getting abused, and then she stuck up for him when he was getting mobbed.
Yeah, that would have been very interesting, but you know, we're not the editors, so the result is a very mixed movie that I think
it's not going to make money.
No, it's not going to make money.
Well, they spent $90 million bucks.
They spent $90 million on this plus marketing costs. So
they get 3,
and it made I think
4?
17
over
the weekend, and yeah, so it bombed. Box office isn't an indicator of a great movie. I think as I've thought about this movie more, I've liked it more. Kind of the opposite of Project Hail Mary, actually, where I started over several days, was very disappointed more and more. But this one I've sort of liked more and more and admired for how messy it is. And it's
messy. That's the word. It seems sloppy.
Yeah.
Not artistic. It seems sloppy.
I think there's a order to the chaos, and I don't necessarily love that order. And sometimes order to the chaos is great, and that results in a great movie. I think like last year's Mickey 17 is an example of that. This one I just don't think quite came together as a whole, but I still think it's kind of, I rated it fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Like this is kind of a good movie. Like I admire what it's doing. Yeah, you're not going to be bored by it. You're not going to be a passive viewer, and you're going to come away with like a lot of interesting discussions. Go have a cup of coffee after you see this, but
it didn't leave me in a good funk afterward. It didn't leave me in a place of wonderment.
Sure.
Especially the Scarface ending. Just getting, I don't know. I will tell you one thing though. Christian Bale crushes. Christian Bale was great. He plays the ideal gentleman who's a monster, which is just a wild thing to do. And I believed him. I lost the fact that it was Bale right away. Right away, I slipped right into his character.
Yeah.
And I felt great empathy for him. I thought he was lovely. They all were great actors. I just think it was sloppy and long. They happen to get away every single time someone's murdered or someone sees them. They just run away and no one catches them. No one's following them. I don't know. And she's possessed by the writer from a different era, and I kept thinking of, Poor Things?
Oh, sure, yeah.
And how much better that movie was.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's another great movie where there's an order to the...
That's an artistic
all the weird asides kind of come together in the end, and this one it doesn't. But I admire the attempt. I admire, trying something different. Yes, it didn't quite come together, but that's better than just another bland, formulaic movie, I think.
And that's the kudos you got to give it, right?
Yeah.
I give it a try it, for that matter.
I would say the same. Try it.
Try it. Give it a try. So I'll represent Jamie on this one. No, Jamie says try it, She should say try it.
I'd be really interested to know.
I actually really am curious.
Yeah.
What Jamie thinks about The Bride.
When she comes back,
When she comes back.
give her homework.
All right, so we got, when we come back, we got Oscar picks. This is going to be a great Oscars because there is no clear front runner for a lot of these things. We're going to see what the big dogs think, and also the Cinegift, The Last Dragon. Don't miss this.
Don't miss it.
We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the Academy Awards coming up on Sunday. It is going to be a really good one because cinema is back in a big way, and I think there's a lot of great stars that represent in all categories, and Best Pictures, all of these are worth watching. Of course, in my opinion. I know you feel the same way about this year's movies.
Yeah. I think, maybe there's one or two that I think are a little less than the others, but for the most part, I'd be happy if almost anything wins.
All right, here are Brian's picks and what he thinks is going to win for the big categories. Let's start with Best Actress.
Best Actress.
Excuse me, Supporting actress. Let's go that way.
Okay, I think that Amy Madigan's going to win for Weapons. A lot of enthusiasm about that one.
Okay.
I will say that my favorite performance was Inga Ipsater-Leleis. I'm sure I'm butchering that name, but from Sentimental Value, all the performances in Sentimental Value were outstanding.
Yes.
But this particular one, I think deserves to be recognized. She's just a raw nerve of emotion, I think, and just a outstanding performance. So I hope she wins, but I think Amy Madigan will take it.
Okay, supporting actor.
My pick and what I think is going to win are the same. Delroy Lindo. I think Delroy Lindo is one. He should have gotten this award for Da 5 Bloods. And so I hope they're making up for it by giving him an Oscar for this. But he was also just great in Sinners. Like, he was kind of the heart of Sinners in a way.
Yeah, he was great.
So I hope he gets it, and I think he will.
All right, what do you think about actor?
Actor, I think that Michael B. Jordan's going to get it.
Why? This surprises me. I know he played two different people, and he did a great job. But I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know the feeling. I thought it was a great performance.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's maybe Oscar worthy, but I thought it was a great performance. I think he won the SAG award.
Yeah, he did.
So that's usually an indicator that he's going to win. I would prefer Leonardo DiCaprio because I think he's doing some wild stuff, or even Timothy Chalamet for Marty
Chalamet
Supreme.
for sure, dude. Marty Supremes.
He was great. But I'm not going to complain about Michael B. Jordan because he was great.
He crushed it.
I think everybody in that category is amazing, so I can't really balk about anyone.
All right, let's go with actress then. Come on, dude, just say it.
Actress,
Do it.
I know Jessie Buckley will win.
Thank you, God.
Yeah.
And she should win.
Yeah.
Say it,
She was
Brian.
great. She was great.
Okay.
I do think that
Watch Hamnet again.
Rose Byrne was outstanding,
Yes.
and she's.
If I had legs, I'd kick you.
Yeah, she. I think I was raving about this. I have been raving about it since I saw the movie. I think it's the best performance period of the year. I also think Renata Reinsva was outstanding in Sentimental Value. So any three of those could win. I'm not going to complain about Jessie Buckley's performance, even though I didn't love the movie. She was great in it.
Watched it again last night. Lost about 3 pounds of moisture from my eyes.
From just tears.
Child death. It's rough.
Yeah.
Anyway, she
Go
cried.
figure. Yeah.
All right, best director.
Best director, I think that Ryan Coogler will win for Sinners.
And deservedly so. That is a really amazing movie.
It's a great movie.
You don't think
Yeah.
you don't think Chloe might win for Hamnet?
I could see that happening, but I think because she's won already once before for Nomadland, maybe they'll not give her another award. So
Okay.
yeah, Ryan Coogler winning. I would pick Paul Thomas Anderson. I think that he's maybe doing a little bit more cinematically with that, and there's just a wider range of styles within One Battle After Another. But again, I'm not going to complain about Ryan Coogler winning because it's an outstanding movie and it's wonderfully directed. So.
And the best picture goes to?
Kind of the same. I think it's maybe going to go to Sinners, and my preference would be One Battle After Another. But again, I think out of the 10 movies that are nominated for Best Picture, there's maybe 2 or 3 that I don't think are really like Best Picture quality. F1 was really good, but I don't know that it's Best Picture.
I can't believe F1's in the running for Best Picture.
It's
I can't believe that movie is nominated for Best Picture.
It's like the box office winner that was critically acclaimed, and so it's the populist choice.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a. It was a good movie, but it wasn't exceptional.
It's not Best Picture quality. No. So again,
So you think Sinners will win, but you want to see One Battle?
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
And deep down, there's some part of me that really wants Sentimental Value to win. I don't think that'll happen. I think it'll get Best International Feature.
Do you think One Battle gets a bunch of snubs?
I could see that happening. Yeah, I think there's been more rhetoric around Sinners lately, or more buzz around Sinners lately, as like you read Variety and they have those anonymous ballots.
When do they vote?
They voted, I think, in January.
So buzz doesn't matter.
No,
It's already
it's passed.
done. Okay, cool. You want to talk Cinegift?
I would love to talk Cinegift. I could talk about this Cinegift for 3 hours.
Okay, well, we got a couple minutes. So this is a movie. I found one movie that I've seen that Brian hasn't seen. Do you know what I'm talking about? This is the film The Last Dragon. This came out in what? Is it 85? It's a Berry Gordy Motown production. So this is like Detroit's finest, but it didn't take place in Detroit. It takes place in Harlem, I believe, right?
Yeah.
But this is a. Why did I pick this? This was a great film from when I was a kid. That was like a kid envisioning the powers of Bruce Lee and the mastery of Kung Fu, and also there was some inner city like play with Sho'nuff and the Master, right? And there's this element of cross cultures between Asian American and African American cultures. There's a beautiful like woman in it and kids that get to kick butt of like bullies, and all of it. I was into all of it, man.
It's insane. I mean, yeah, you sold it to me as a like a blaxploitation kung fu movie.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that, but it's not.
And you left out that like half the movie is 80s music videos.
Yeah.
And there are whole sequences where people are just like, you're just seeing a music video, and the music is very 80s. It's very like Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah. Yes.
And
his girlfriend's like Cyndi Lauper.
And these music videos are hilarious.
How about the barracuda, the piranhas in the tank?
The piranhas are wild.
So James Bond.
The little brother. So the main character's name is Bruce Leroy, right? So his little, and this guy is
Leroy. Yeah.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, but they call him Bruce Leroy.
Right. So his little brother is like 12 years old, and he's like 20 or something like that.
Sure.
But despite being 20, he's very virginal and very innocent. He doesn't know anything about vanity or like how to, he doesn't know how to approach her, even though he's clearly attracted to her. And his little 12-year-old brother gives him advice on sex that is absolutely bizarre. Like I don't even want to repeat the lines. I want you to discover it.
Fantastic.
It's insane. This whole movie is insane. I couldn't believe my eyes every scene. Just something bizarre happening. Like, this is a total.
The villain's a record executive.
He has
Napoleon syndrome.
He has an arcade. He's an arcade. He runs an arcade system of
Eddie
arcades.
Arcadian.
Yeah, Eddie Arcadian. Subtle. Get some friends together and watch this.
And the music's great.
It's so funny. Like,
when you got that soul.
The music is wild. The villain Show Nuff is just
so
insane and like desperate to prove himself in every scene. Like, he's just got like,
it's got like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle vibes on it
totally.
too.
Yeah.
And like end boss vibes with like all the minions you can dream up in 80s movies, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like Running Man, where it's like, they have all these different
there's like a caveman.
Superhero minions that come out of nowhere. They're biting bats in half and like, what, dude?
It's like all this rogues gallery of villains. That's like a
Street Fighter,
caveman.
too.
It's like a Santa Claus. Like
the Santa Claus one. They dropped his pants and he fell over. And this is Vanity, by the way, who was supposed to star in Purple Rain.
Right.
But she ended up getting a contract for The Last Dragon. And so she couldn't contractually do Purple Rain. She was becoming this big star, and they chose Apollonia, who looks exactly like her.
We're gushing, clearly. See this movie. I told Chris, I added this to my Blu-ray collection almost instantly. As soon as it was over, I went and shopped, added it.
You are the last dragon.
I loved it. I plan on showing this to my friends.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Great recommendation.
All right. We got a minute and a half. You want to hand out your Cine gift?
Yeah. For next time, let's keep it Oscar related. And I'm recommending the best picture of, I think, 1961, The Apartment, starring Jack Lemmon and Shirley MacLaine, directed by Billy Wilder, who made Sunset Boulevard. So
I have not seen this movie before. Is this a drama or is this a comedy?
Dramedy. Very funny.
Jack Lemmon?
Very funny parts. Yep. Jack Lemmon's great in it. So is Shirley MacLaine. Yeah. You'll laugh a lot. You'll probably cry.
Is Shirley MacLaine also the name in Die Hard of the wife that he won?
No. I can't remember her name, but it's not Shirley.
Okay, anyway. Shout out. Die Hard.
Yeah, so check that out.
Okay, cool. The Apartment. That's what we'll do. Where can they find you, bud?
All right. I'm on deepfocusreview.com. You can find me at Deep Focus Review on Letterboxd and Blue Sky, and find my reviews on Rotten Tomatoes.
Chris Hrapsky here at KARE 11. Excited for the Academy Awards, everybody.
Absolutely.
Have a good time. And of course, we'll talk about it in our next episode. Thanks for joining us. And so this power of this foreign martial art coming to the city, and the glow is potential. It's real, right? And oh my God, when they start kicking each other at the end and the sparks are flying, dude. The glow sparks. The glow sparks, dude. Like lightsabers coming out of their fists.
Just the opening where it's like a montage of him training, and it's muscles, and kicking, and he kicks the title and explodes. And then just randomly there's a shot of his hand with chopsticks, and he clearly doesn't know how to use chopsticks. I was like, oh my God, this movie is instantly great.